Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Jam. And today we're diving into a topic that has been hitting everyone's pocket, everybody's wallet. That is inflation. Yes, prices are going up. Groceries are ridiculous. Rent, gas, going out to eat, it all costs so much more than it used to. Inflation really has us jammed. So what do we do when our dollar doesn't stretch like it used to? Today I'm going to give you some real strategies and ways to fight back. I want you to think about this episode as your personal survival guide to inflation. We'll talk about smart ways to save, how to spend less but still live well, and some tips how to even invest when money's tight. Enjoy the show. All right, so real quick, what is inflation? At its core, inflation means the value of your money is shrinking. You've probably noticed that, $50 of grocery that you used to buy last year, it now costs about $70, if not more. That's inflation at its finest. In simple terms, inflation means your money buys less over time. What used to cost $20 now costs $30, and your paycheck didn't go up any, right? Here's the deal. While wages don't always rise with inflation, the prices do. They don't stop. They keep going up, right? But here's the good news. Inflation doesn't mean you're doomed. It just means you need to play the game a little bit differently. So what do we do now? Let's look at different strategies that we can use while dealing with inflation. First, let's look at some smart spending. Get more for less. All right. The first thing you need to do is look at your expenses. Look at what you're spending your money on. Start by reviewing everything you spend money on. Subscriptions, streaming services, how many times you're going out to Starbucks to get coffee. And you need to ask yourself, do I need this right now? Not forever, but just right now while inflation is high. Ask yourself these questions. Get clear on where your money's going. All right, that's why I say that. Look at your expenses. I know it's not fun, but you can't fix what you can't see. All right, so pull up your bank statement. Look at it. Look at your spreadsheet. Wherever you got where you're spending that money, you need to see where it's at. Like I said, there's probably a subscription you forgot about that's coming out every week. The daily spending of going out and getting something to eat, buying coffee. Renewal charges that just been coming out this whole time that you don't even pay attention to. Go back and look at those things. Then you either need to cancel or pause the things you don't need. That's cash you're going to get back immediately by doing those things. Either cancel what you're not using, pause it for a little while, and get that money back. That alone can save you $50, $100, $200 a month. And that's money that you can either use somewhere else or you can put into a savings account. Okay, so the next thing, you heard me talk about grocery shopping. That is where everybody or where most people I talk to have been getting hit, and that's in the grocery store. Grocery prices are insane right now. All right, they are wild, but you can still win at the grocery store. Here are some ways. You can buy in bulk. Buy stuff that you use a lot of, though. Don't waste anything. You can buy in bulk. You can switch to the store brand. You don't always have to have name brand everything. Switch to the store brand. They're just as good. And while we're talking about switching to the store brand, you may even want to switch stores. Go to a store that's, not as expensive as your big market stores or your big chain stores. Use rebate apps, use coupons, use those things to help you in the grocery store. Plan out your meals ahead of time, okay? And use the stuff that you have at home. During this time of inflation and the grocery store being as high as it is, you don't want to waste anything. Food waste is more expensive than you would think, so let's not waste any food. The next thing, cut big expenses where you can. Now, if you can renegotiate your rent or you can find, some cheaper place to stay, then let's do that. Most of the time that's not the case, but if you can, why not? You may want to call your car insurance, see if you can get a better rate on that. Your internet, all the things that you pay, it doesn't hurt to call and ask. The worst thing that a company can do is say no. But in reality, they want to keep you, okay? So it might take you 30 minutes of sitting on hold or whatever, but they'll help you out, okay? And that can save you, again, $50 to $100, all right? But saving anything is better than nothing. So while we're on the topic of saving, okay, save your money while everything costs more. Okay, let's start with saving. Because if you're like most people, that savings is starting to look a little slim. Okay, so one of the things you can do is move your money into a high yield savings account. Traditional banks are offering like 0.01 interest. Okay, but online banks and credit unions, they give you anywhere from 4 to 5% in interest. So that helps your money grow faster, and it helps offset inflation just a little bit. It's free money on money that you already have. So set it up, have it work for you daily, and you can get that interest and it'll build up slowly for you. And that, like I said, that kind of offsets the inflation. Next thing, use cashback or rewards programs. This is really big right now, helping a lot of people out. So if you're already spending, at least earn something back with your spending. Use credit cards that give you some, some rewards, give you some cash back on every dollar that you spend, 2 to 5% back on your groceries, gas, whatever you're spending on. You get bonus points for shopping at certain places, and that could go a long way. So stack your deals up, okay? The more deals you can get, the better. And when I say stack your deals, I'm talking about, coupons, cashbacks, store rewards. It's a game that you got to play right now. Stack up those things, and, suddenly you'll be getting a little something back, and that could go a long way and help you. But remember about the credit cards, though. Just make sure you're paying off that full balance each month so you're not racking up interest, because that could hurt you. Again, so back to the savings. Every little bit counts. $10 a week, $25 a week, whatever you can do. Do it right away as soon as you get paid. Because if it's in your account, your spending account, you're spending it, it'll be gone. But if you do it right away, it's out of sight, out of mind. And before you know it, you've got some cash building up. All right. The next thing you can do is do the 50, 30, 20 rule. Some of you may have heard of this before. It helps a lot of people out. You spend 50% on what you need, the things you need, your bills, your housing, whatever. 30% on your wants, the things you want, even during inflation, because like I said, you still want to live. You don't want to go into hiding because things are getting expensive. And then the 20% is, your savings or paying off debt. So inflation may mess this up. So give yourself some grace. You don't have to do 50, 30, 20. You may do 60, 25, 15, or even 70, 20, 10. The goal is progress, not perfection. The next thing, spend less without feeling deprived. So here's the truth. Cutting back doesn't have to feel like it's a punishment. You have to cut back because you have a goal in mind. So still spend, still go out, have a good time, buy some of the things you want, just cut back a little bit. But beware of this lifestyle that you're trying to live. Like some people may get a raise, or you're like, okay, I got a raise, so now I can start balling again. Or I got me a side gig, so I got a little bit more money in my pocket. That doesn't mean you need to go out and buy a new car. Now is not the time with the way prices are going and how expensive everything is. Just chill right now. Save that blow up or that flex for later on, not right now. Right now, you want to play defense. You don't want to be playing offense right now. You want to play defense. All right, so now with inflation, everybody's like, well, how can I invest? With everything being so expensive, how can I invest? Being able to invest during inflation is huge. Make your money work for you, even right now in these hard times. You don't have to be a millionaire to invest. Yes, you can invest even when things are tight. Start small with low risk investments. You don't need $1,000 to begin. You can use, various apps from Fidelity, so on and so forth, to buy fraction shares of like Amazon, Apple, etc. Even if you just invest $10 a week, small amounts over time equals serious growth. You can start with pocket change. I said $10 a week. You could even start with just $5 a week. It still adds up over time. All right, you want to look at maybe putting some of your money into bonds. The interest rate adjusts like every 6 months or so on inflation, and they're normally pretty safe. Now, you won't get rich, okay? But bonds are like, the the quiet kid in class, and he's really a genius, right? They're good. Like I said, they're government backed and their interest rate adjusts with inflations. You won't get rich, but they're solid and they're a safe bet to protect your cash from losing value. Another thing, diversify your portfolio. If you're already investing, don't keep it all in one place. Spread it out, in stocks, bonds, maybe some real estate. A good rule is the more diverse your investments are, the more stable your return. So get that portfolio, build it up, build it in several different investments, ways to invest, and that'll help you in the long run. As we talk about this inflation, I want you to think about your mindset. I want you to stay calm and I want you to stay focused. Let's be real. It's stressful. Inflation can feel like you're in quicksand, but if you panic, that'll lead to some bad decisions. Let me say this loud and clear. You're not behind. You're not failing. You're just adapting. We just did an episode on adapting. That's exactly what you're doing when dealing with inflation. The economy is doing weird things right now. We're all figuring it out in real time. The goal right now isn't perfection. It's stability. And here are some things that help. Focus on what you can control. Your spending, your mindset, your income. Learn something new. Learn new skills or side hustles, things that can bring in a little bit of extra cash. Talk about money. Talk about money with your friends, family, an expert, somebody that knows a little bit about money. Don't let shame or stress keep you quiet. There's more, the more we share, the more we all learn. Like I said, you're not behind, you're adapting. So here are a few reminders to help you stay grounded. Celebrate the small wins. If you find a $10 bill in your pants pocket, that's a win. If you used a coupon that you found or that you have, that's a win. If you didn't order out on Uber Eats or DoorDash or whatever this week, that's a huge win. Talk about money. Shame keeps you stuck. A community of people helps you grow. Find new ways to help yourself during this time of inflation, because inflation is real, but so is your ability to get through it, to adapt, to plan, and to win on your own terms. As I wrap up this episode, I hope the tips that I gave you give you a little bit more clarity when dealing with inflation. Inflation is tough, but so are you. You're tougher than inflation is, so we'll all get through it together. Until next time, spend smart, invest smart, save smarter. If not, you may be jammed. Thanks for listening.